There we go. Fourth stop of Cqcs Innovation Latam. I'd like to thank you all who attend here today. It's amazing to have so many people interested to discuss about the future of the automobile insurance. I'd like also to thank you very much and Bill Powers from CMT and Carlos Ricci from Swiss Re and Diaz from Bradesco, and also Leonardo from Cilia, who come here to share their knowledge with us, to talk a little bit about their views, how they realize, how they perceive this moment of the industry. And we are really happy to have them here with us. But I also like to thank our sponsors, our gold sponsors, Bradesco, Cilia, Potencial Seguradora Sul America, our silver sponsors, Grid and MetLife, and also our supporters, Icatu, Europe Assistance, Bering Fitch, and Matos Filho. And right now, we're going to start the discussion about how is going to be the future of this so special risk. Everybody around the world make automobile insurance. But in the last years, we have heard about people don't want to drive anymore. Ubers was available, sharing cars, and a lot of choices. When COVID arrived, your automobile became the safest place for you to go around, to go out with your family, to be safe. I really want everybody to know that I hope you all safe and all healthy. And this stop today, we're going to talk about automobile insurance for the next generations. A lot of change have been happening in the last years, and for sure, we have a new scenario for the next years. Today, we're going to start our program with our Insurtech of the Month, which is Cilia. People from Brazil who do an amazing job working for AI and machine learning, helping very much on the claim side, getting a really better experience for the users. You know, user experience is the must, and you should pay attention. So Cilia helps a lot on it. After that, we have our panel. First of all, we're going to have our friend Bill Powers from CMT. And after him, we're going to have Carlos Ricci from Swiss Re. And we will end the last panelist, our keynote speaker from Brazil, Diaz from Bradesco, out here. And for this moment, I'd like to invite Leonardo Lobo from Cilia to show up what they have been doing. Welcome, Leonardo.
Thank you, Gustavo, for inviting us. So,
you know, that's a big pleasure for me to have you here. I have a special feeling about how Cilia have been and doing your journey on the insurance market. I really think that you help a lot, and I hope you keep growing and growing and growing, my friend. Okay. Good luck with your presentation. Show the world what Cilia does.
Thank you. Just a second. So good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Gustavo Doria and Cqcs for inviting us for this great event. My name is Leonardo Lobo. I am the CIO and a partner at Cilia Tecnologia. And today I'm going to show our new product that uses artificial intelligence to make vehicle appraisals. Cilia Tecnologia is a Brazilian insurtech company based in Goiânia, Goiás, in the middle west of Brazil. And the company was founded in 2012. We are a technology company focused on the auto insurance industry, working on claim solutions for insurers, repair shops, and part suppliers. And we have made over 2 million vehicle appraisals for the biggest insurance companies in the market. And everyone knows that a car accident or collision can be very stressful for the policyholder and for the insurer. And nowadays, a claim process can last more than 28 hours just to make an appraisal. And there are a lot of claim handlers and service providers involved, from the reporting of the claim by the customer to the recovering of the damage. And today we are launching our new product called Cilia AI, that allows the insurers to reduce drastically the claim journey, reducing people and companies involved to make an appraisal, and even people make appraisal, and even allowing insurers to reimburse the policyholder for partial loss. And it's also possible to find out if the claim can result in a total loss. And so the claim can be settled in less than 5 minutes, reducing all the paperwork, all the bureaucracy. And in a partnership with Deep Learning Brazil Lab from Federal University of Goiás, we are building an application to recognize vehicle damages through the photos. And this app can also generate an appraisal for the majority of vehicle models in a few seconds, based on damages found in the images. Using the vehicle license plate number, we can match the specific vehicle brand, model, and year, and get its market price. And with that information, we can show if the repair costs will be below or above the deductible, and suggest customers and insurers the best way to settle the claim. At the moment of the claim reporting, the insurer can send a link by SMS, email, or WhatsApp to the claimer, who can access our application to upload some photos of the car damage. After that, the AI will process the images and show the section of the car that was damaged and how severe the damage was. And the app can identify all car damages and mark them down in the vehicle 3D model, like that image. And using that information, the app can generate an appraisal with real costs for all vehicle parts and labor involved in that recovery, and showing the kind of operation that will be done in each vehicle part. For example, replacements, repairings, paintings, and with the estimated labor time for each operation. And our ecosystem can pre-order the vehicle parts from the parts supply network, matching the best price, matching the best delivery time. And we also can suggest the best repair shop for that kind of damage based on some criteria like geolocation, vehicle brand, costs, and kind of repair services. And all that information is available for the insurance back office during all the claim process. So the entire process is done in real time, automatically and seamlessly in less than 5 minutes without human interference, using artificial intelligence to scan photos, recognize damages, and make an appraisal. That's a great enhancement in the claim handling. And there's a lot of benefits to insurance companies, such as less time to settle the claim from days to minutes, reduction of claim staff, like adjuster, assessor, analysts, reduction of claim service providers like adjuster companies, repair shops, part suppliers, assistances, and reduction of frauds and human mistakes. And there are also some benefits to insurance customers, like more agility to deal with the insurance claim, freedom to perform self-services, improving user experience for our insurance customers, and a possibility to reimburse the policyholder in a few minutes to let them have their car repaired on their own. So now I'm going to show a short video that demonstrates a little bit more about our new product.
O sistema Cilia é software 100% online focado no mercado de seguros automotivos. Nosso produto mais recente é a orçamentação automotiva, que utiliza modelos baseados em inteligência artificial, reduzindo drasticamente a necessidade de interação humana. Quando ocorre um acidente, o segurado entra em contato com a sua companhia seguradora e, após o atendimento, o segurado recebe um link para envio das fotos do veículo. O segurado faz o envio das fotos que são analisadas por nossa inteligência artificial, que é totalmente conectada com o software de orçamentação veicular. Neste momento, é possível identificar danos internos e externos, bem como o nível da avaria, o tempo gasto para a substituição ou reparação de cada peça. Com essas informações, são abertas diversas possibilidades de interação, dentre elas, por exemplo, o segurado tem acesso aos valores de reparos e recebe uma proposta para reembolso imediato do valor do prejuízo. Outra opção, o veículo é levado para a oficina indicada pelo sistema. A indicação é feita após a identificação da localização, disponibilidade e melhor avaliação da oficina. Optando por levar o veículo até a oficina, todo o processo de compra e envio das peças para o reparo é iniciado imediatamente, selecionando o melhor preço e prazo de fornecimento de peças e com acompanhamento em tempo real. Dessa forma, o sistema Cilia consegue reduzir em minutos todo aquele antigo processo lento e burocrático que o mercado de seguros já conhece. Simples assim. Cilia Tecnologia.
So the application is already running in some insurance companies in Brazil, and we are very happy to launch this application. And thank you for attending, and please visit our website for further information. Thanks, Gustavo.
Hello, Leo. Very nice. I really appreciate your presentation, my friend.
Thanks.
Could you please just mark the screen sharing, Leo?
Okay.
It's very nice to have you here with us today. I'd like you to know that you did what we expect you to do. I really desire that Cilia really get more and more insurance companies day by day, so you can provide this amazing service who can change the experience of the insurer with our product. You know, the claims is a moment that they need to be relieved, not be worried about that's going to be handled. Thank you very much. Please, we're going to have a Q&A in the end. Wait until people ask you some questions. I'd like you to wait for us.
Okay, thank you, Gustavo.
I would like to explain for you all two things that I forgot. First of all, the chat is open for everybody. You can reach other persons which are with us. It's very important for you to mark not only for the speakers, but to speak with everybody. But in the Q&A, which we're going to have in the end, and for me is the most special moment of Cqcs Innovation, you please use the Q&A button to make your questions. The translations for Portuguese and Spanish are available. You can mark it and down your screen and down in the right side. Our first keynote speaker for today is a very special man. When I went to ITC on 2019, our last experience there, and he was the case of the year. His company, Cambridge Mobile Telematics, was just got $500 million of investments in the operation from SoftBank. And Bill is graduated from Boston University, and with his extensive experience in the market, Bill played a highly relevant role building and managing several successful organizations, such as Vice President Executive of Strategic Development on Swap, and Traffic.com, where he was a member of the executive board. Cambridge Mobile Telematics is a world leader in mobile telematics. Bill is here today to make it clear, because everyone keeps saying they're leaders, global leaders, but Bill brought the numbers. And they're a leader in mobile telematics and behavior analysis for users of smartphone users, data to analyze driver behavior, and it's responsible for the development of platforms such as Drivewell and Safest Driver, which help drivers to improve their performance on the wheel. And please welcome my friend, Bill Powers. Hello, Bill.
Hello, hello.
Very nice to see you here with us. We just met in Vegas almost 2 years in the last year. This year we want to be happen to be there, but we would like you to know that I really appreciate you giving your time to being here with us.
Happy to help.
Please, Bill, that's your show, my friend.
Thank you. So it's nice to meet everybody. I see that we have 325 participants. So I will do my best to tell you about what's happening at CMT and also what's happening globally with telematics in general. So I have a short slide, and then I'll let Gustavo decide whether we're going to do Q&A or we'll do that at the end with the rest of the panel. So Cambridge Mobile Telematics has been around since 2011. I'm sorry. Yes, since 2011. We are auto insurance for the next generation. We have a global mission. You can go to the next slide. We have a global mission, and that mission is to make the world's roads and drivers safer. We do that through a number of different ways, but the primary ways that we work in doing that is we are a mobile sensing company at our core, and we're dealing with the present and the future of mobility. The way that we work in the auto insurance space is through artificial intelligence, behavioral science, mobile sensing, and we also have a hardware device, an IoT, Internet of Things device. So that's the backdrop of what we do. You can go to the next slide, please. So many companies talk about how wonderful they are and they have great slideware, but by any stretch of the imagination, we are the largest mobile telematics provider in the world. We currently have over 50 programs in 30 countries around the world. We have different products. We have Drivewell, and the basis of Drivewell is to assess the risk and encourage safer driving. So think of this as two ways. Not only do we want to teach people how to be safer, but we also want to give them feedback and rewards on how they perform. We've found it to be incredibly rewarding, and also we have much higher customer retention than any of our competitors. We also have a claims studio, which is real-time crash and claims alerts. We do crash reconstruction for FNOL, first notice of loss, and claims processing. A sample of some of our customers, both in the US and around the world, are on the right. And one of our biggest advantages is if you look at app ratings of many in the consumer telematics space, you'll see lots of negativity, and we are significantly factor higher than the industry average in terms of our app scores. So we really take pride in listening to the customer and the end user and making sure we're building things that are usable and relevant to all of our business partners. If you could go to the next slide, please, Gustavo. So Drivewell. Drivewell is a complete end-to-end mobile telematics solution, and we use behavioral analytics. So we're measuring the driving behavior with our mobile SDK and trip processing. Now, 2 slides ago, I referenced the tag. That's this little device here. It's white. It's about the size of a matchbook. It's an incredibly powerful device. I would say that many people globally now are starting to copy that, which is rather interesting. They're copying that because of the data you can get from the tag, and it allows us to really give quality data to create a driver's score. We're able to improve driving behavior with Engage, and we're reducing our commercial risk with Fleet. The solutions that Drivewell enables are try before you buy, pay how you drive, which some people might call mileage-based programs, pay by distance, which is similar, and we have many more things. So we're doing a lot in rideshare, we have dash cam products, etc. You can go to the next slide, please. So Gustavo mentioned why we're the biggest. So if you look at straight facts of how you would measure a company. You would measure a company in terms of users on the platform, how large their footprint is. You would measure it by revenue, which I will not get into, but you can see through this how large we are. And you would measure it by number of drivers. So at any given time, we have 6.5 million drivers on the platform. We have shipped 15 million IoT devices to date. We have 200 employees, many of whom are headquartered in Cambridge, but we have offices in Mexico City, Dallas, Seattle, Los Angeles, London, Chennai, and Milan, Italy, which is not listed here. I think if you look at the sample of customers down below, that's an example of insurance customers, but we're also working very well in the connected car ecosystem. We're working with OEMs, automobile manufacturers, rideshare companies, and wireless providers. If you go to the next, so that is my final slide. That is an overview of what CMT does. I very much would like to, I'm looking forward to questions from the group, and I'm looking forward to developing some new relationships and how we can work together along the way. So with that, Gustavo, I'll pause and let you take it from here.
Bill, thank you very much for your presentation. There's a point I'd like to focus here. I really like the care CMT takes with the behavior of the driver and how they can improve the quality of life, because the car can be a marvelous machine, but if you don't use it in the right way, the problem is not a claim. It's how people can get hurt or hurt people and making losses. So congratulations about this human view that CMT gives for your customers. I really hope that you have you here in Brazil as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Please wait a little because probably you have a lot of people asking you questions.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gustavo.
Our next keynote speaker is one of the nicest persons I met recently. He's head motor solutions and transactions of Swiss Re, have more than 25 years of experience in the reinsurance sector. He developed great part of his career in the primary insurance sector with the Liberty Mutual Group. He is a friend of a lot of friends of us here in Brazil. I talked with Carlos Wagnarelli, with Rafael, and everyone probably is around here to see his presentation. He also is the general manager and member of the board of directors of Liberty Mutual in Chile since 2018. He has been at Swiss Re, where he's responsible for the development of the motor portfolio through the implementation of technological, analytical, and capital solutions based on risk. Please welcome my new great friend, Carlos Ritchie. Hello, Carlos. You still muted?
Yeah, no, we are on. Thank you for so welcoming. So yeah, indeed, I have friends.
Let's send a hug for our friend Ilari Trier, who have been providing me so many special people around. I really hope with this pandemic moment pass away so I can go by to Miami so we can have a beer and spend some time together.
Sure, Carlos, sure.
Now is your show, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gustavo. So let me, try to get into the presentation.
Rafael is saying hello here in the chat for you.
You see perfectly here now the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you, Gustavo, again for the invitation. So I'm Carlos Rich again. So I'm the head motor of transactional solution for Swiss Re Latam. So, and what I want to share with you, I'm going to share with you is a combination of experiences that we have gathered in the last 5 months, plus an additional analysis that Swiss Re has conducted in recent year with regard the future of the automobile insurance. So let's wait here few seconds to talk about Swiss Re. Probably most of you knows who we are, but we are one of the leading companies in the reinsurance industry with more than 150 years of experience. But the most important that I would like to quote in our mission is that we create the smartest solution for our client, helping the world to rebuild and renew and move forward. This is all about resiliency. This is what we are facing right now, and here's where our value proposition is so important for our clients and insurance companies. The first study that I want to bring back, so this is an analysis that we ran a year ago, exactly May 2019, and we call the motor protection gap in Latin America. And what it is, so we conduct this analysis where we found out what was the portion of the insured fleet in the region, and as a consequence, the non-insured fleet. So as you can see, so basically just the 20%, when you take the 5 largest market, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, just the 20% of the fleet in the region or in those main markets are insured, meaning that there is a big opportunity down there for challenge. So the 80% of the fleet in Latin America are uninsured. If we talk about business opportunity instead of premium, so we are talking that those premium could be roughly 80 billion US dollar in the region. So we are going to bring back this conversation later on. So, and this is most of the interaction that we have had with our clients, and I'm sure the more of you will agree with this. This is just what was a kind of interchange with client, and what we from Swiss Re in Latin America and jointly with other region we were evidence. So our market. So let's divide it into aspects. Pre-COVID, what happened last year, basically? So the markets were doing business as usual, they say. So most of the countries were, facing their competitiveness challenges. Probably some markets dropping prices if the profits were good the previous year. On the other hand side, if they face a very tough year in result, they were, focusing in increased prices. But what the most initiative that they were running was to try to improve the customer experience. So, basically, the market, we saw a lot of such improvement and through the digitalization. So the other aspect that we saw in last year, that insurers were, hesitant to introduce new content and products because they were concerned that if they introduce a new product or a new way to do business, that could attend with the current portfolio, as we call cannibalize the current portfolio. So they just develop and test some product, but they didn't deploy thoroughly to the marketplace. That's an important situation that changed as well. So COVID came first quarter of the year, and this is we said that this is the current state. As you know, slowdown in the car sales, roughly between 80 and 100% of the new sales now is impacting having lower portfolio to insure for the insurance company. There is a decrease. The decrease in the portfolio creates a temporary profitable as a result of the release of the premium reserve. This is something that everybody has to be cautious, because the reduction in the loss ratio comes from two aspects. One is because the insurance company are decreasing and they are getting a big gain out of the release of the premium reserve. And the other component, as everybody knows, we have seen, drop in the frequency and severities because nobody is doing the vehicles during the lockdown, and they, have a good loss ratio during the second quarter of this year. But what we have seen so far, and have interchange with some client, that despite this improvement that we saw during the second quarter, there is a quick catch up, and even in some markets, the frequency and severity has went back to normal. So meaning that the short-term benefit of the COVID is almost disappearing. Other impact that is important is the rampant devaluation in most of the Latin American currency. You will know that it will impact in higher repairment costs, and probably the theft rate is going to increase due to the scarcity of the spare parts. And another impact that it has to be considered is the collateral economic impact. So there is a lot of SMEs or PMEs that went out of business and bankruptcy, and this is more or less are going to impact as well the motor portfolio, making that people are less prone to buy traditional products, and as a consequence, it will be a reduced retention and it will be a reduced portfolios. So reaction and trends. So I would like always to emphasize that the party's over. So we believe that there's going to be an increase in the average cost claim down the road in the coming months, and for sure in 2021. And there is the three concepts that everybody has to be aware that now is they didn't appear in a timid way. I think that is going to change the motor industry, the insurance motor industry, definitely. And this is our teleworking, exactly what we are doing right now. So there is a lot of survey out there where probably 50% of the industry or companies are considering to have teleworking as an alternative way for their employees. So definitely this is going to change the way that the people behave driving or own even a car. Sharing economy, this is something that was appear even before COVID, but despite that this, the sharing economy has been hurted as well because the restriction of the pandemic. We are sure that when this lockdown finished completely in all the places, the sharing economy has to come up with a interesting value proposition to regain terrain. And micromobility. And micromobility is all these other concepts to mobilize people. And here we are talking about e-scooter, e-bicycle, e-motorbike. So there is the new trend that is appearing little by little in all the main capitals in Latin America. So as a consequence, has been an intense reaction for the insurance company to do something different, to do something either modular or to adapt according to the current need, and to not to be just solely focused on the traditional one. And there are three main drivers that are happening right now. The first one is product and solution focused to explore to focus on explore segment. Remember that we discussed on the motor gap, so insurance company now are targeting those segments that they didn't care before. So we are talking here about old cars. We are talking products for young drivers, and there is an extensive list. So we have received, calls to contribute with some insurers to create a new product for segment that never had been taken carefully. The second one is an accelerated response for key players to implement telematics. So even though we have in the region since probably 2018-19 some market leaders, some startups company that implemented telematics, some of them in a kind of pilot test. Now we have seen an intense reaction, and actually we at Swiss Re, we have a end-to-end telematic solution, and we are working with some market leader in some interesting market, because it's not just the big ones or the small one. We have seen a fierce reaction in all the markets to have a product for telematics in place. And the third trend that we have seen, that this is a little bit, no, I'm going to say concerning, but this is like a way too extreme of the traditional product. And this is new players offering implementation of on-demand coverage for motor. What does that mean? Yeah, that now there are companies and insurance companies that are working to offer to the clients that they can have the benefit to insure the car just for a week, just for a month, and you can turn the coverage off and resume the coverage probably 3 months later. So this is there are various key players in Brazil, in the southern cone mostly, that they are offering this kind of services. This is not a surprise. So aggregators and digital SI brokers has grown exponentially during this lockdown. They stated that they have grown more than 200%, while the traditional channel, the broker, that is the individual person, so the traditional one has on the same side and the same way has been substantially decreased. We can say as a first conclusion here that the insurance has decisively implement product as a solution in order to retain their customer regardless the price, regardless that is going to cannibalize the portfolio. But the main purpose that we have seen in the region, that they don't want to lose the customer base. They rather prefer to have the same 1 million client or the 100,000 client, but trying to get a product that satisfy its needs, are not to try to just offer the traditional product and let the rest go. So in our view, in the Swiss review, we believe that the vehicles not will be, actually the vehicles are already electric, connected, shared, and automated. And in that regard, we had built a suite of solutions to address those avenues. The one that we are not going to spend too much time here, but the ones that we would like to highlight is we have a high end-to-end solution for the telematics, and we are very open on product development for all the new mobilities scheme. And as well, there is recently, probably you have read in the news, so Swiss Re has established partnership with an important OEMs to develop the ADAS risk score to predict the result for the vehicles that have those systems. Before to get to the final presentation, this is another interesting study that we conducted 5 years ago, and we call it exactly the future of the motor insurance. Let me find here the pointer. There we go. Exactly. So basically, this is an analysis where we said, in 2015, just considering the economic behavior from the previous year, we expected that the motor premiums in the world was going to be growing like this, like the dotted line. But everybody knows that that wasn't 100% true, and we knew that the new technologies and new offerings that were going to appear down the road, and instead of having this growth, we are going to have like a reduction in the growth because the connectivity, more affordable products, sharing economy, all those schemes were going to reduce the growth of the premiums and the trends. So, but now with COVID, we have a question mark here that I would like to share with the audience. So, since we have been already impacted between, this is worldwide and is the same from Latin America, our premium has been reduced from 50 to 30%. So the question is now, what the projection in the long run is going to look if now we took a hit here in 2020, and this is our new starting point. The question will be, does the motor market is going to remain flat? Is going to try to make a catch up here, or probably on the other hand side is going to be reduced? So this is actually, is a question mark. We in Swiss Re were trying to figure it out what would be the next trend, but this is something that I believe that we as an industry have to find out together. Final thoughts here. So I think that regardless that the insurer have to do you to face this new trend of this new reality motor. First thing first, before to embark in a, to do a fancy products or try to reinvent the wheel, ensure that you can provide a satisfactory customer journey. First thing first, if your processes and procedure are not in place, probably this is the first thing that you need to do. Rely on external proven knowledge. So many times would you hear clients, insurance companies say, we want to develop in-source or our expertise, but there is no need for that. There is a lot of people or companies that they already did something, and I actually thinking to develop the next step. We have to challenge the old-fashioned excuse paradigm. So I think that this is every time is disappearing, but still you can hear a chief underwriter office say, "No, I'm not going to take a risk to have this product of this this new option because the fraud in motor is never going to disappear." And I hope that you all have accounted in your prices and in your products already. Cannibalization, we talk about this a bit. It's better to retain your client than don't have it. So I think that this is something that the insurer already have realized. Sometimes we hear something about expenses. Expenses, and we don't get why they talk expenses. Even though when you rely on external knowledge, or is now everything could be outsourced, and the expense component could be even lower. And priority. Priority, I think, not because we are here talking about motor, we believe that we are the most important line of business, but I guess so. At least motor is the 50% of the income of the industry. And if we don't take care of this, it's going to create a big disruption in the P&L of the company. The company has to set the strategy according with the new trends. Yeah, pay as you drive product, pay as you drive, sharing economy, ADAS scoring, address the e-scooter, bicycle, out demand. Try to get into the new risk pool and focus exactly to reduce the motor protection gap, because we just saw minutes ago that there is a big potential out there. And my last comment for the time being is act now. Act now. Somebody will propose and will execute, and the price for being a follower could be high. So I'm glad to share with you that in all the interaction that we have had with the market, we have seen, let's say, that probably 60% of the clients are trying to do something, 30% are just thinking, but sadly there is still a 10% that they believe that this is just going to went through and never is going to change. This is my presentation. This is my contact card. You can reach us as well through the different regional office in Sao Paulo, Bogota, and Mexico. I will glad to take questions later with the panel, but in the meantime, back to you, Gustavo.
Carlos, thank you so much, my friend. I really love the act now. The price of being a follower can be expensive, and I I really believe in it, and that's why we are here. We want to be the people who will make it happen. That's Cqcs works that much to put together so much people that can help us. Thank you very much. Please wait for the Q&A. You have your questions already. I would like to say thank you for my friend, my new friend, Julio Barras from Ecuador. Also, Galo Laria is here. Renato Lindenfield from Chile. So we are making it really Latam. That's the greatest goal. That's why we're offering Leap, digital, insurance, and all those people. And it's very hard. For attendees who have their hand high, please use the Q&A for the questions and be free in the chat. We won't be able to open the speakers for attendance. Please forgive me. And right now, I will invite my old-time friend, since Unibanco Seguros. He's have a large experience in the insurance market. You know, he has a degree in business administration from UFRJ, an extension course in Columbia from New York University. I have been in Columbia, it's amazing school. The executive also worked in New York for PwC, and also director of companies such as Unibanco Seguros, Itaú, and Porto Seguro. In addition, he's the general director of Auto Bradesco Autoria. He also is a member of the board of Europa Systems Brazil and Swiss Recurso. Remember, Europa Systems Brazil is our sponsor. Please welcome Mr. Ney Diaz.
Hi, Gustavo. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Gustavo, for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here in such a high caliber team. And I congratulate also my colleagues for their excellent presentation. It is a very challenging team, you know, in the situation we are. Think about the auto insurance for the next generations. So I'm going to focus on the next, say, 10 years, which I believe is challenging enough. Okay. Okay. As my colleagues here mentioned, there's going to be a lot of changes in technology, and that's going to provide to our clients, brokers, and all business partners a much better experience, much better operations. The things I would like to discuss today is basically coming to the fundamentals, how we expect the things that change or impact the insurance industry, particularly the auto insurance industry, for the next, how they are going to be expected to develop in the next coming years. If I manage to pass the slide here. It's not changing the slides.
Nate, try to just click.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we think about, you know, there are other aspects, but let's focus on these 5 ones here. Social and citizenship, the vehicle itself, and we're talking about, you know, how the self-driving vehicles are going to be coming to place in a larger scale. The insurance policy itself and coverages, the type of ownership, and we see an increased trend in services to our clients. Talking first here about social and citizenship, there is definitely a new component that has always been out there, you know, as a possible risk, but for the first time we are materializing that, and in exchange for, you know, what the trend was, most people are feeling safer in their own vehicles than on shared vehicles. So that we don't expect to stay in this situation for a long period of time. But on the other hand, we know that this may come in other times in the future. So this concern of risk of being in the same situation, in the same place with a number of people has definitely become an issue for the industry. The other important thing, particularly in Latin America, is how organized crime looks at auto insurance. Looks at the automobile as, you know, as to perpetrate crime, and obviously how the law enforcement will react to that. I believe technology will help us a lot on this, but we've seen that organized crime has been able to invest and be sometimes ahead of us. The other point is we hear a lot about the youngsters, the young generations not wanting to have their own vehicle as people from my generation would like to have since they become, 18. But what we see is that when they settle down and have their own families, they prefer to have their own vehicle. So that is a clear trend that we can see. The other thing in Latin America, and a little bit of what Carlos said, liability in the region is not as well, the risk awareness is not as high, and the experience, as a matter of fact, is not being as critical as in Europe and the US. So this is going to be an interesting development in the coming years, how the legal courts and how people will become more awareness of the need to be better protected. The insurance brokers are working with this matter, trying to educate their customers, but there is still a long way to go. The other important aspect is, where people will prefer to live. The pandemic brought a lot of people thinking whether they're going to continue to work in their offices, or if they're going to move to the suburbs or even to smaller cities, as they might want to or might be able to work from their homes. So this could be could represent a significant change in many countries in Latin America. And obviously, as you move further away from the urban areas, you may not be able to share common vehicles, so you might want to have your own vehicle. So these are expected trends. Also, in terms of ownership and usage, we mentioned a little bit of this the youngers preferring usage as opposed to ownership. So how is this going to play in the next future years is going to also impact the insurance, as if you have a sharing model, you may or if you have a fleet, you may have insurance fleet type of coverage instead of an individual. Bill spoke, and Carlos as well spoke a lot about the telematics for people paying, as you drive, on other possible ways of, hiring their own insurance. In terms of vehicle itself, we're going to talk a little bit about autonomy level 0 to 5 and how is this going to play out in the future years. The affordability of hiring more sophisticated vehicles is still, as we speak, is still concentrated on high value vehicles, which represent a small portion of our total vehicle fleet. So if they become less expensive, they may be able to expand further sooner than later. The other issue that the industry has is whether even when we become or have a higher number of vehicles in high autonomy, is the technology to convert the existing fleet is going to be available and affordable? That's a main question that the industry still has. And the other point is 5G availability, by country, city, rural areas, because, they depend on this availability and the infrastructure that will be out there to sustain this module. The other aspect is that requires significant investment for the governments, and we know there are a number of governments in the region with limited investment capacity. How they're going to be able to change and sophisticate the traffic and urban infrastructure to have a more friendly environment for the self-driven vehicles. Here on the autonomy level, I believe most of you know that there are 6 stages out there. The first 2, mostly of our vehicles are still level 1 or level 2, where the human driver is, key on the conduction of the vehicles. And then when we move towards 3 and 4, then we'll have the machine taking more control. The expectation, or some experts say that only by 2034, we'll have 10% of the new vehicles being sold on level 4. So that, make us believe that there is still a long way for us in the current type of insurance. With the changes, with the improvements, but we are still very far away from the module where will be similar to an aircraft, where you have a fleet type of insurance, an operator type of insurance. In terms of insurance itself, we have, the full comprehensive coverage, the current module that still represents, we have been observing changes in other, on the on-demand and pay as you drive, telematics, but still the full coverage, comprehensive coverage represents more than 90% of the insurance policies being issued. So that is a significant change or growth, as Carlos mentioned, but we still under the traditional way, it still represents a very high percentage, and some customers don't perceive the benefit or think it's too much, is invasive, and sometimes they don't want to go through that process or changes on the month, depending on the usage. So there's still a lot of points to be clarified and see how the customer is going to react to that, moving forward. The other aspect still in the region, as Carlos mentioned, there's a high number of people without any coverage in the region. So even in the countries where it's considered mandatory, but so this, we're not advocating any module, but if the administration starts to move into a more mandatory model, there could be a significant impact on the policies that we cover today. The other aspect in terms of distribution, aggregators, and brokers and agents. We still, in the region, we are primarily a broker region, with over 85% of the policies. The customer of these current generations still feel very comfortable with a broker, not only in the quoting process, but also helping or assisting them in the moments of claims and any other moments of their needs. The other point, I don't know if people outside Brazil, but certainly people in Brazil might know that there is a new law on LGPD, and today our questionnaire is probably one of the largest in the world, if not the largest. And that happens because in some way of sophistication of, in defining the correct rate for each individual, but also in the certain limitation of data that you can use or is available. So this is also going to be an important component going forward to change or not the the insurance policies in the future. And finally, in terms of, this is a clear trend we see, particularly here in Brazil, but not only. It started obviously with the most obvious option, which is the 24-hour road assistance. The vast majority of our insurance policies come with the 24 road assistance, but we have been moving, further away into windshield glass repair. That's already an important part of our insurance policies. Small damages, extended warranty, maintenance, and we see a trend for convenience, how to help our customers to fulfill their maintenance needs, any other repair or recommendation in terms of service providers. So we see a clear trend in the customer wanting the insurance carrier to offer additional services. This is being well responded by our customers. So generally speaking, there's this is my last slide, and there's all these aspects that we should take into consideration and to think about the future of insurance for the next generations. Gustavo, I'm ready here to take questions, and but I believe it will be a very interesting future for our industry, with all the opportunities and with all the changes we are facing at this time.
Hey, thank you so much. Would you please stop sharing the screen? And I really love this overview you brought to us. I think that we're having a very, very interesting moment in our industry, and we need to really try to use this space to rethink how we can provide better service for customers. And we have a few questions here, and I'd like to invite Mr. Carlos Rich back here for the Q&A session. Mr. Bill Powers for the Q&A session. And Mr. Leonardo Lobo also for the Q&A session. I would like to advise for our attendees that we have a survey. It's very important for you to help us to know how you're feeling, if you like it. And clients really looking for getting in touch with Carlos here on the chat. Carlos, please get the chat information.
Okay.
That's very good,
Okay.
And very, very interesting to see how the industry redesign. Carlos, I think your cam is closed.
No, but could you hear me? I guess this is a little bit probably delay in the internet. But could you hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you very well.
Okay, now, yeah, but I'm there. It's a little bit frozen, but I can hear you guys.
And I'd like to ask Mr. Bill Powers, and that Renato Caicucci said, some people does not believe that telematics does not explain our risks regarding losses. Do you believe that algorithms combined with telematics and AI can complete or substitute the pricing model in the near future?
The short answer is yes, I do, because we're currently doing it. So I'm not sure that I understand the question fully. There's so much loss and there's so much waste in the current pricing model. I think that one needs to look at what the technology is doing in place of what's currently happening, because what's currently happening isn't perfect.
And thank you very much. I think the same thing. I think the machine is learning how to provide us services that when you need to go to mass, to this kind of positioning. And Carlos, and we have a question here, and would like you to, how do you think we can solve in Latin America problem for used cars?
For used car?
Yeah, old cars that you have problems to insure that.
Yeah, no, but this is actually one of the points that I highlight during this reaction of the client. So we had been, sadly, I cannot disclose details of this because some of these partnerships are on the ADA, but we have been working with clients to address all cars with the different components. So of course that we are not can be doing the same with the same product that we have in place in that market. Because this is the first idea. The idea you cannot address the old cars offering the same repair component with new parts, and in some legislation you are not allowed to repair cars with used parts. And this is what we are exploring with this client. There has to be a lot of intervention, or you have to work alongside with the regulators, because in some markets we have restrictions. And the other option that we are exploring with client is to limit the partial losses. Okay, you have a partial loss, and we are going to give you a lump sum. There are ways to explore those segments. So what definitely we cannot do it with the insurance company is try to address those segments under the same traditional product that we have in place. So the traditional annual policy is not going to work for any niche product.
I agree with you 100%. Ney, I have here our friend Wesley Oliveira. He is asking us about how the impact of LGPD in Brazil for the development and the utilization of new technologies in the automobile insurance.
Well, we may not be able to use certain information, or some of our bureaus that we utilize may have some constraints. But I believe there will be ways of, aggregating the data in a way that we can, continue to use, and we can always, ask our customers whether they want their data to be used for pricing. So I think it's going to be creating some constraints or some difficulties, but I'm pretty confident that the industry is going to be able to overcome it, observing properly the legislation, as it has happened in other markets.
RGPD is around. I see. I feel the same. Bill, few questions for you here. People really got interested about the telematics here. I was doing a short one because I think that's good for you to make a point. Does you believe telematics is more important to pay as you drive solutions, or do better pricing according to behavior?
Oh, hold on. I thought I clicked off. Sorry.
Okay.
Could you ask me that again, please?
He's asking you if telematics is more relevant for pay-as-you-drive solutions, or it's better to price in according to behavior?
Yeah, I think it really depends. It's a great question. They're not mutually exclusive. So I think this is the type of question that gets me really excited, because Carlos hit on a couple of really strong points. But what we're really trying to solve for is the issue that the book of business that an insurer sees. So as an example, companies that just have a smartphone solution, there was another question there from a fellow named Raphael. Companies that just have a smartphone solution, I believe, are going to be somewhat limited in what they can provide for insurance companies, because not every person with an insurance company is the same profile. So some people don't drive a lot and don't have much risk, but they might be elderly, where somebody might be young and we need to teach them about poor behavior. So I don't think either one is necessarily a mitigating factor for the other. And I actually think it depends on the insurer what they need. So I think both prices and both options are available.
Thank you, Bill. And
So if I may add something on Bill's comment, so
please.
Gustavo, yeah, it has to be precisely what Bill said. It has to be with what the need that the insurance company wants to address.
Correct.
So it's not, let's implement telematics. And we have this conversation with some clients say, we would like to implement telematics. Okay, what is your need? What is your segment? What do you want to address? Then it has to be a target. And what we have seen nowadays, since the lockdown, everybody wants to go to the pay as you drive. And we challenge back our clients, say, no, yeah, we can provide the solution. It's interesting, but you have to consider as well that the lockdown is going to disappear. And sometimes the pay as you drive product, when you ride more than you usually do, actually is more expensive. So we always have challenged the client to determine the focus, and there is not the right or wrong answer here. I think that there is a market for both products.
I think that pay. I'm not sure if I misinterpreted what Carlos said. Pay as you drive is going to be here to stay. It's just going to take different versions. It's going to look different depending on the use case of the consumer. People are looking for, because the economies in many of our countries are really struggling, people are going to be looking for savings regardless of when lockdowns end or don't end, because of the economic downturn of the lockdowns. So I think we need to separate the medical part of COVID versus the economic impact of COVID, which would continue. I agree with Carlos's broader point that we need to push insurers. Many insurers, I thought Carlos' presentation was fantastic. Many insurers are either saying, yeah, this is a fad, or this isn't going to work. And other insurers, I would say most insurers are really all in and leaning into it. So the future of insurance, the future of mobility is going to change. And that book is being written as we speak.
I agree 100%. And I have one question here for Ney. Leo, we got a question for you too. Please wait a little. And Ney, how Junior Camera is asking, how the actual broker for automobile insurance should prepare for the future and keep his clients with him. Don't lose his clients, maintain his book.
That's a good question, and I think it goes beyond automobile. I think we have, obviously the majority of the brokers, they are very close to their customers, and they follow them in every aspect that they need. But going forward, I think there's space for brokers to be a risk advisor in general to their customers, including other risks like life and pension and health, homeowners. I believe there is space to provide your customer with all the risks they need, and be a broader advisor. And I think us insurance companies, we need to help them to assist which is the next product that they should offer. Help them to assess whether there's space to improve their current policy. For instance, does the small repairs make sense to them, to this particular customer? Does the what type of assistance, depending on how much they ride every year? And the other point, which I always like to make, is the third-party liability, the RCF. We still have in Brazil an average coverage of around 60,000 reais. That's a little
$10,000.
That's a little bit more than $10,000. So that's clearly insufficient for the majority of our customers. So there is, so again, to make a long story short, I think there's still a lot of space to provide more service to our customers. And by doing that, you create the fidelity of our customers to us.
And I'd like to get a ride with your answer, Nate, to tell the brokers, pay attention to your client. You know, when your client get a $10,000 search for liability, your client's not covered. And if you have a claim, that will make a really bad experience for him. And that's really very bad, not for your business, for over our industry. We need to change this mindset, especially in Brazil. Let's provide the coverage for the clients and explain to them they need to pay for it. Leonardo, we have here a lot of questions that we won't be able to answer all of them, but the market of repair shops are not really high-tech prepared. But are they who prepare the clients? That's Paulo Renato Faria from Brazil. His question is, how AI and in the budget, auto budgets, how they understand that? How they receive this idea of needing to get this technology update?
That's an interesting question, because we are running this a pilot in some insurance companies, and the repair shops has received very well the possibility to make appraisals in less time. Firstly, they are using our technology to like assistant to make an appraisal in few minutes. So, for example, if in a car accident, they have to replace or repair 60 vehicle parts. With our application, they scan photos, they uploaded, the repair shop uploaded photos to the appraisal, and our AI algorithm process the images and can making up almost 90% of the appraisal. So things become easier and faster for repair shops, for insurers, and for the customers.
Thank you. And
I see a question on here from Leonardo Bordone at 512. Do you see that, Gustavo?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so Leonardo, I hope you're well. Thanks for joining. This is exciting to me, this question. The question is, for those of you who don't see it, considering the new technologies for autonomous vehicles, in your opinion, will there be a transformation in automobile insurance and liability insurance? Not only will there be, we're starting to see it now. So I don't think we're ever going to have in our lifetime a complete autonomous society, simply because of it's very easy to have an autonomous vehicle on a new highway late at night without a lot around it. But when you're dealing with human beings in older vehicles in different parts of the world and various infrastructures, it becomes challenging. I do believe insurance companies, and certainly some of the largest global ones we're working with, are looking at risk analysis of how to ensure whether it's rideshare autonomous driving or personal vehicle autonomous driving. Many of you probably saw in the news that Tesla is starting their own insurance. That is exactly what this is for. They want to underwrite their own insurance for their autonomous driving Tesla vehicles. So Leonardo, that's a great question. Wonderful insight on you. And it's exciting times for sure. And that's really what CMT does. We're at the future and this intersection of a future of mobility. Thank you, Gustavo.
No, thank you very much, Bill. I would like you to, I'm very happy when you feel free to be part of it and help me to choose the questions. And Carlos, Bruno Alves want to ask you about the telematics, and it's very interesting because you know Brazil. And how do you expect the new telematics technology to join the cultural and financial realities of Brazilian market, so that solid risk control is possible here in Brazil?
Yeah, and actually, I guess the risk control has to be related with another question that Rafael Citelli just asked, and probably, yeah, and it's related with the saying is on the fraud component.
Answer both of them, please.
Yeah, no. I think that exactly that. So the economic reality, not just telematic, any new offering or new development, innovation has to be affordable, has to be cheaper than the current one. This is the first stuff. On the telematics, we can find that. So either with the mileage that you ride, it will be cheaper that you are paying for a full year policy, or depends of your behavior. So the affordability is there with the product. So the risk component, I guess, that has to be related with the fraud. So there are ways to mitigate that. So I just reply another answer to Rafael Citelli, where when there is a component with the bundle, you can bundle a tag to the apps to mitigate and reconstruct claims. So, and you can mitigate substantially the fraud component. Of course, there's always this discussion around that what happens if I don't carry the cell phone, and what happens if my wife's cell phone, and all those conversation we have addressed on a communal account, family account, and there is no perfection in this. I have to be honest with you, because the most strongest telematic solution probably we cannot afford. One with the camera looking from where looking at the driver probably could be the best state of the art. Actually, we are analyzing this for a fleet program in China, but the cost is way too much. But there are ways to mitigate as well the risk component in the telematics.
Super, thanks. We won't have too much time. I have one question before the last one. I'd like to hear you three. Paper use. In Brazil, have been talking about a lot of paper use recently. The regulator authorized the intermittent insurance. And how do you see the future of this kind of product? Bill, could you start?
Yeah, I think that I don't want to take too much time with my answer, but there's a lot to unpack there. Basically, the future of telematics is a bit of a misnomer. I think it's the future of mobility. And all the use cases that I discussed earlier in my presentation, whether it's auto insurance telematics, whether it's on a phone, whether it's a connected device to the vehicle, whether it's ride sharing, whether it's camera based, perhaps it's autonomous driving. We're working with many OEMs now to get the proper risk scores figured out. So it's all of that. And I think that comes under an umbrella of a catch-all of telematics. But again, we at CMT are not focused solely on an app solution. There was another question in the string about the cost. I'm paraphrasing, so please forgive me. The cost of telematics is prohibitive in certain markets. We price our programs, and we have the financial ability to do this. We price our programs based on the size of the average premium. So we adjust based on market, country size, etc. So I think the future of telematics is really about the future of mobility.
Thank you very much. Ney, could you help us?
Oh, I believe there's going to be, I agree with Bill that it's going to have, a decent size of our portfolio. There is also the fact that there are other ways that you can know the behavior of your customer, particularly with the number of years of experience. So I think there'll be a decent size for the pay as you drive, but or pay per use. But you know, there are other factors, there are other types of information that you can get that you may be able to price your customer. So I believe it's going to be an important component, but there are also going to be other ways to properly price your average customer.
Great point. I love that.
Carlos.
I think that this is just the beginning. No, I don't want to be like a binary here. Telematics is pay as you drive or pay as you drive. I think that this is just the beginning of the new trend of the motor. My personal opinion, I don't see the future where people just pay a flat premium for a coverage that doesn't just, tarify based on gender of brand, model, or age. No, I think that the future motor insurance will be measured with technology. Call it an app, call it an UBI, or call it the ADAS. So cars are increasingly equipped with advanced driving assistance system, the ADAS. So basically, we are going to have the information from the OEMs. So the car itself is a telematics. It will be a telematic device in the future. Of course, in Latin America, the portion of the ADAS equipped fleet is smaller than Europe. But yeah, I think that is just the beginning of the new motor. So probably in 3 or 4 more years, we are not any longer talking about pay as you drive, pay how you drive. We are measuring other component that the car itself or the OEM will bring to the insurance company to deal. So what I would like to encourage the colleagues here that this is going to change, and actually it changed. I think that probably the only or the silver lining of the COVID is that the motor industry is going to react, because as I showed you in the chart before, so we lost 20% of the premium in 2020 worldwide. On average in the world, the premium has been reduced 20%. Where had this heading to? We are going to keep the same premium. We are going to increase the premium, and the only way to face that challenge is to be innovative. It hasn't to be at the beginning. Has to be for the future fleet with technology, and with the current and protected fleet. Yeah, with adjustment of product development for those segments.
I need to tell you all that we really reached my expectations. I think we did more than reach it. We went far away from it for reflections. Big part of our audience here are brokers. In Brazil, automobile insurance for brokers is a very, very relevant part of their business. And if you could give one tip for the next years for those brokers, so we can finish here. Just give one. You want to start, Ney?
Well, in a few words, you have to know your clients very well, and be able to serve them in all their needs. I mean, we have to look inside. Carlos mentioned the decline in the market. I believe some of that is FX, but yes, there has been a decline, no doubt about it. But I don't believe it will be 20%. But again, we have to focus on our client, and look at all business opportunities we have. We cannot look at only one product or one. We have to look to be really the risk advisors to our customers.
Thank you. Now, one advice for the brokers to look for the near future.
I guess they have to pursue first-class services always for their customers, for the insurance customers, using technology, see things outside Brazil, use Cqcs to improve their knowledge. That's my advice.
Carlos?
This is an interesting question. So the first thing is, to be involved, be participative, because when we discuss product. Actually, telematics with client, some clients say, remember that we are in Latam and the broker is important, say, okay, but you can still sell telematic leveraging on your broker. Nobody is excluding the broker in the conversation. You need to get the broker involved, and you need the broker to be in the project. So this is none of the future is excluding the broker participation. But here's the thing. Sometimes when the insurance company propose to do something different, sometimes they fear, hesitation from brokers. Say, okay, this is going to reduce my income. Yeah, I rather prefer to keep selling this big product that gives this margin, this profit. And this is something that the brokerage community have to acknowledge. So now it's about to get more clients and probably to get better risk and a bigger customer base. So they have to participate, support the insurance industry in launch and to be entrepreneur to face this new challenge.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, so I'm listening to this and I'm smiling because it's exactly what we went through many years ago. So from a socioeconomic perspective, the climate in South Africa is similar to some of the Latin American countries. Nay, you talked a lot about organized crime and theft and things like that in your presentation. And, there's a whole bunch of, whether it's carjacking, theft of vehicles, reselling parts, fraud, etc. I would encourage brokers to look at the offerings that we all bring to the table and try to find a partner that can actually help you accelerate and grow your book of business. In other words, one of the reasons we're starting to do well and we're really starting to expand in Latin America, and we have an office in Mexico City now, is we're able to provide solutions to the insurance provider at a price point that works to help them solve some of the problems they're facing, whether that's uninsured vehicles, high loss ratios, accidents, theft, things like that. So for brokers, try to look at this as, Carlos, you said something early in your remarks about this, get involved. And I think that's such wonderful advice, because it doesn't mean you need to do anything, but if you get involved, at least you'll learn and start to understand what's available out there.
Super, thanks, Bill. And I'd like to leave a message also about that. I'm a broker. I love brokerage. Here in Brazil, we have a big base of brokers as participants of our community. And I'd like you all to remember, sorry, what comes to me, it is the image of the bionic broker. The client wants you. He wants your humanity, he wants your contact, he feels more confident. That's why he's still alive. I was sending a message for people from Broker Tech Ventures to enjoy us in the distribution 50 stop. And I explained that the brokers won all the wars until today. But right now, they need to pay attention on technology. And remember, you are a service provider. You are a solution provider. The client expects you to bring you solutions, not price. The price is relevant, yes, but a well-designed solution is priceless. So please, if you maintain your clients and look to the future in a profitable way and getting happy, please remember, you are a solution provider and you understand insurance, and the people need you for that. Thank you guys very much. Thank you all the attendants. Thank you all the partners. Thank you all the sponsor. Amazing time. See you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Obrigado.
Bye.
Bye.